All right. Hey guys, welcome to this session by Great Learning. My name is Anirudh Rao, and in this session, we are going to take a look at a fantastic dataset based approach where we are trying to, analyze the dataset, the IPL dataset, right? The Indian Premier League. So, if any one of you all here is looking forward to learn data analysis, if you're looking forward to understand what EDA is, how is it used, various types, and in fact, if you are cricketing fans who are also data analysis fans, you are going to have the time of your life with this particular session. All right, okay, fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a look at data analysis. We're going to be performing exploratory data analysis on the Indian Premier League data set. We're going to be asking and answering so many questions. This would definitely be the most interesting demonstration now that we've seen that IPL is coming back again, right? I'm sure all of you all are excited for that as well, and likewise I am always excited to have a session with all of you all, right? Fantastic, guys. Welcome to the session from wherever you guys are tuning in from. Good afternoon to everyone. It's a beautiful afternoon here in Bengaluru, and it's a bright one, right? So let's get started with the IPL data analysis. Now, before I actually go on to dive into the agenda and all of those details, the first thing I want all of you all to do is head to the comment section and type in a small yes if you can hear me fine, if you can see the screen fine, right? So let's just make sure that everything is fine from both of our ends and we can get started, right? So guys, head to the comment section and quickly type in an yes or a no so that we can understand what's going on with the stream, right? Fantastic. Now, while you guys actually go on to give me the confirmation, I want to tell you that I'll be monitoring all of your comments here using my mobile phone, right? So as soon as you guys type in your comments, there'll be a very tiny delay, but I'll be seeing the comments as and when you guys publish it. So regardless of any questions that you guys have, make sure you guys put it down, right? There is no beginner questions, there's no intermediate questions. If you have a questions that you need answered, or you have a doubt that needs cleared, ladies and gentlemen, you really should ask without hesitation, as you always do, right? Fantastic. Now, give me a minute of time because I want to guide you all with this fantastic venture we have here at Great Learning called Great Learning Academy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing that I want to ask you is, have you heard of Great Learning Academy and have you enrolled into the courses that we provide here? If yes, head to the comment section right now and type in yes, and you can also put in the courses that you're enrolled for, right? Come on, guys, let's see who gets it first, right? Fantastic. Now, I have a confirmation from all of you all. With respect to the comments and with respect to the session as well. Superb. I cannot wait to get started, right? Manjeet, Abhi, Arvind, Bharat, Devendra, Shweta, all of you all have given a confirmation. Superb, guys. Fantastic. Now, for the people who do not know about Great Learning Academy, as I told you, this is a venture where you'll have access to a lot of learning material, right? We have 1 million plus learners who tune in from 160 plus countries out here to Great Learning Academy, and with Great Learning Academy you can find 300 plus free courses taught in multiple language at variable levels of difficulty, and you guys can get started with any topic of your choice, right? For example, since we're talking about data analysis, let's see what it is like to check out a career path really quick, right? So I'm going to quickly click on select career path here, and it's going to bring me to this section, right? Of course, these are all the popular career paths. Now, data analysis is a part of data science itself, so I'm going to click on data science, and you can see this data analyst, right? So as soon as I click on this, it's going to bring me to a page where it will show me all the details about the number of jobs in India, the average salary, how many learners have enrolled into career transformation programs wherein they have had a average salary hike of 48%, and we have over 8,000 career transitions, right? Now, these are some of the fantastic PG programs that I'm going to be guiding you at the end of this particular session, right? For now, to get to that point where you're a specialist, to get to a point where you're completely professional, you guys definitely need to start somewhere, right? So I highly suggest you guys check out the free courses that we are offering right now. We have many courses. As I mentioned, we have 300 courses, and some of these courses are also taught in Hindi, and as you can see, they're beginner courses, we have intermediate courses, and we have advanced courses. Do you guys want to know the best part? All of the courses that you find here at Great Learning Academy are completely free. You can enroll into Great Learning Academy for free. You can find all the details about the course, all the skills, all the course syllabus and everything, and eventually at the end of it you can complete the particular course that you have opted for, and you will have a certificate of completion, a beautiful looking certificate of completion that adds so much value, right, to your knowledge, first of all. And second thing, if you want to put this certificate somewhere on LinkedIn, do you want to put it on your resume, do you want to attach it with respect to any other certification or certificates of completion as well, it will hold a lot of water. And in today's world, we know how much certificate of completion means, right? It can make the difference between you being being selected for the next round, or you being filtered off because they might think that you don't know the concept, right? It happens in the real world. That's the reason you can have access to it. Of course, this means a lot. I'm sure you guys already know this, right? Now there's many things. You'll be checking out details of all the upcoming live sessions that we have as well. You can find out details about the entire live session for this particular week. You can get details about the Great Learning app as well. Now come on, I know that all of you all either use an Apple phone or a Google phone. Right now, if you're using Android, we have the app on the Play Store. If you guys are using Apple, we have the app on the App Store as well. Now I have a fantastic question which I always ask, ladies and gentlemen. How many of you all have tuned in from your mobile phones, smart TVs, or any other concept, right? Because if you're using a mobile device, you can actually with the content that we provide here at Great Learning, it is ensured that we tune it for all of you all who are watching via mobile phones as well, right? So you can find it comforting too. Superb. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I think it's time we jump right into the agenda, right? Now, before we do that, do take a second to hit that subscribe button, because if you subscribe to Great Learning, now there's many benefits out there. We're going to be talking about the benefits throughout the session, but if you do love seeing more content such as this, and we would appreciate if you could support the channel as well, right? Superb. Now, guys, let's begin. What is the agenda of this particular session? What are we aiming to do? Well, we're going to start this out by taking an introduction to exploratory data analysis, right? Now, when you have heard of the term EDA basically is an abbreviation for exploratory data analysis, or it can also be called as data analysis to a certain extent, right? So we're going to understand what is that exploratory part, what is data analysis, everything. After understanding and having a good introduction, we're going to take a look at the various types of exploratory data analysis out there. Now, again, there's many different types of analysis that we can perform, so we'll be quickly taking a look at it. We're going to be discussing ample amount of examples everywhere so that you guys can relate to all of the concepts, right? Fantastic. After we have taken a look at the types of EDA, the next thing that we're going to take a look at is the advantages. Now, there's tons of advantages of using EDA, and we're going to be discussing some of them, right? And as soon as we quickly finish all of these theoretical concepts, at the end of it, we have the practical implementation, where we'll be taking the data set from the Indian Premier League based data, and we're going to be analyzing, assessing, and as and when you start understanding through the theoretical concepts, you will find out that you can ask any sort of questions to the data set. For example, who has won the man of the match award the maximum number of times in IPL, or for example, who won a match where there were no wickets taken, or who won the match and the purple cap, or all of these things. So you have a million things that you can do with respect to the data set, and we're going to be asking a lot of fascinating questions, and we'll be getting fascinating answers from our data set as well, right? I hope you guys are excited as me. Fantastic. Let's get started. The first thing that we're going to have to take a look at is an introduction, right? Now, some of you all might not have been exposed to exploratory data analysis before. So what is EDA? Let me actually give you a very simple example to understand exploratory data analysis, right? Let us just say that there is a new TV show that has come out and it just went viral, right? You can think about anything. The first TV show that I can think of is probably Schitt's Creek. It's a comedy TV show. Of course, we have many TV shows where as soon as it hits the streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, or whatever it is, it just becomes popular, right? So there is one show that has become super popular now. It's trending. Your friends are all talking about it. Your Instagram is completely spammed with all the stories of that particular TV show and all of that. So now you are also very curious, right? Even you want to get into the hype, and even you want to understand what's going on with the TV show, or maybe a new song drop by Drake or whoever it is, right? So you're very curious to learn about it. What is the first thing that you will do to know more about this particular TV show or song, right? I bet that you might head to Google and you might do a simple search to find out more about it. As of now, you just probably know the name of the TV show, you might know the actors, you might see a 15-second Instagram story with the introductory title part of it and all of that, but that's it, right? That's all you know. But is the TV show only that much? Of course it's not, absolutely not. So in that particular case, you have to perform some research to understand more about the TV show that we're talking about. This literally, if you just remove the word TV show and if you attach the word data to it, this is exploratory data analysis. We will try to find insights which is hidden to the plain eyes, right? Now, as soon as I see an Instagram story, it doesn't mean that I just watched 10 seasons of a TV show. No, I have to actually go on to analyze it, assess it, and then complete it, right? There's a process that goes on. That process is also what we are taking a look at here, right? So whenever you have data and you want to understand it with a bird's eye view, it's fine. You might not be performing any analysis. But once you start investigating into the data and you start to understand the data better, right? That is when you'll see a lot of things which are right and which are wrong. The right things may be like you might find some very interesting patterns in the data that you'll be like, oh, okay, here is a pattern, and you have to understand that pattern matching for data analysis is huge, right? It's really big and it's very useful. Not just pattern matching and not just all the good things. See, data is a raw entity and it brings along with it noise as well. So when I say noise, what I mean is that this is the part of data which is of no use to us, and you can't just ignore it, because if you ignore it and still have it in the data set, it will mess up things, be it for data analysis, or it might mess up and skew the data in terms of be it underperforming, overperforming, or for if you want to take it to the machine learning level or deep learning level as well, right? So it's going to mess everything up unless you actually find out what's wrong with your data, clean it out, right? So that again, even though you're not performing analysis directly, you're looking into the data to understand what's wrong with it, right? That's an analysis in itself, ladies and gentlemen. So you have a piece of data that you want to analyze, you look at it, you don't realize that there can be anything of value, but then you dig deeper into it and you will realize, just like those cartoons that we used to watch when we were younger, where there's a treasure chest randomly placed on the beach and people have to dig in, they have to put in some effort, and once they open that treasure chest, either there's nothing inside it or it's full of gold, right? That's exactly what you find as a result of exploratory data analysis in many of the cases as well. So I'm sure you guys have used this in real life, but coming on to Python, you guys definitely need to know that in terms of data science, in terms of data analysis, in terms of why we consider this particular concept to be very important, right? So it's of course understandable that you'll have a question saying, why is EDA so important in today's world? First of all, it will help you understand the data even before you come to the conclusion, right? For example, the new TV show is super popular. There can be two things. One, it can just be a plain hype that everyone just wants to do because it'll make them look cool. Or the second thing is that they really find it nice. The third thing is that, of course, it's a beautiful TV show, right? There is a couple of situations here. Now, you cannot just conclude it by watching a 15-second trailer and saying, hey, this is bad or this is good, right? That is usually what we tend to do, but that is not. So instead of guessing, instead of thinking that, hey, it might be a bad movie, and instead of just, guessing without any proof, don't you think we require some sort of proof when we do things like these? This is exactly where EDA comes into the picture. Here, instead of you making assumptions, you will have complete clarity on the data. You will understand the data. You will, in fact, have a roadmap which will take you from the starting position all the way to the end, where you can make use of the data, remove all the erroneous stuff, find all the trends, find everything about the data that you really need. And instead of you just saying something here, you will have data with respect to proof as well, right? You have backed everything you say with proof. So that is one of the reasons why EDA is super important. Now, if I told you that I have 5 dogs sitting next to me, it can be true or it can be false, right? If I have 5 dogs next to me and if I move the camera around to show you the dogs, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, so there's dogs, there's proof for the existence, right? Similarly here as well, instead of you just making an assumption, instead of you coming to a conclusion by guessing, you will have proof to say it is either good or it is bad, whether you might like it, you might not like it as well, right? The amount of scope that we get, that we all can do with respect to EDA is super fun, guys. Arvind says, I am a school student. I want to enroll for the PG program in data science. Is it available for school students? Of course, Arvind. Thank you so much for tuning into this session. We absolutely love your enthusiasm here. Yes, the PG programs are available for a wide range of audience as well. Make sure you guys are connecting with respect to, you can leave us a mail, right? I think I definitely see the reply there, and you can give us a call, and we'll make sure our people at the admissions office can do everything in their power to help you understand and assess the situation, right? So okay, now that we've understood why exploratory data analysis is so important, the next thing that we're going to have to take a look at is the various types of exploratory data analysis that we can go on to perform, right? There's not only one type of EDA that says, hey, this is the only thing you can do. Absolutely not. There's many ways of EDA. In fact, there's 3 very important types of EDA that you guys can perform. It's univariate analysis, it's bivariate analysis, and it's multivariate analysis. Now, if you look at the name itself, right, even if you hide what it means, I think it is very easy for you to understand. When anything says uni, it means one. When anything says bi, it's true. Multi means more than two, right? Of course, here as well, when we say univariate analysis, we are trying to analyze and assess a single variable, right? I'm going to give you an example. Think about bivariate analysis. Bivariate analysis also is another form of EDA, where here, instead of one variable being analyzed, you'll be analyzing and assessing two variables. Similarly, multivariate analysis, more than two variables, right? Okay. Now that we know that if we are performing the analysis on a single variable, it's called a univariate analysis. But where have we used univariate analysis in real life, right? Well, here are some examples. If you have ever been this person where you've tried to track your age over the years, right? We usually have a wall or something in our house where we have a tiny mark that shows us that, hey, we were this tall at this moment of time and all of that, right? I used to do that when I was really, really young, I remember, right? So how do you track that change in the height? There's only one thing that you're measuring: height, right? Height with respect to the time, of course. Time is what comes as a collateral there, and you want to say, hey, how much was my height 10 years ago, or what's my height today, right? There's only one thing that you have to analyze to get the answer to that. Similarly, the change in age as well, right? If you were someone who's born in 1990 and you have to ask a question saying, hey, how old am I in 2005? Don't you think you can answer that question? And you wouldn't require any other detail, right? The date of birth and when. That is it. That is a fantastic example of univariate analysis. And then take a look at bivariate analysis, right? Bivariate analysis is where you guys will be analyzing two variables to check the outcome. For example, now, if you're considering the male and the female population with respect to the sport preferences, we do understand that, for example, in IPL, in cricket itself, right? Of course, we do have the women's cricket team, we have the men's cricket team, but when you just search for cricket, what do you think is the first preference that comes up? Of course, all the guys, all the male population jump in on the sport, and for some reason, all the males have a thing for cricket, right? So it's their preference. But if I have to find out, okay, so what do females prefer then? If cricket is not the biggest thing for them, well, maybe it can be hockey, it can be boxing, it can be something else, right? There's so many fantastic sports, and we have the finest sportsmen in the country here. So you can definitely look at this gender parameter and say, hey, one is for male column, we have another column called females, and we want to assess and analyze between these two to see what they prefer, how much percentage of females prefer playing cricket over other sport, or how many males prefer playing other games apart from cricket as well, right? So you can answer all these questions which you cannot directly answer if you just just ask it out and expect an answer to be ready. No, you have to analyze, you have to find out the answer, right? That's the fun part. And then take a look at multivariate analysis. Multivariate analysis is fantastic. We use this in our daily life everywhere. I'm very sure you guys have heard of this medical term called diabetes, right? Diabetes is again a thing, a plague that's all over the world right now. It's not as dangerous as thing, but then of course, if you're taking a look at diabetes, it is a very, very bad condition where your body cannot sort of maintain levels of sugar, insulin, and all of that. So when you see a person is diabetic, there is multiple factors for it. It can be based on genetics, it can be based on the insulin production in their body, it can be based on age, it can be based on diet, it can be based on exercise, it can be based on body mass index, it can be based on so many different things, right? You cannot just say, hey, if this person is 20 years old, this person will get diabetes. When no, you can never perform a univariate analysis on the diabetes data set and say just with the age this person may or may not have. You can find the average age where people usually tend to go diabetic. Of course, all of those type of questions you can answer, but I think you guys get the picture here, right? So these are some of the types of analysis which again we'll be using univariate, bivariate, and of course multivariate analysis as well. We have multiple videos on the channel where we have attacked all these applications of data science where you can take a problem, solve the problem using it, right? There you can find many use cases on the channel where we've used univariate, bivariate, and of course multivariate analysis as well, right? Fantastic. Now, there is one important thing that we have to discuss. It's basically a simple looking graph. But if you're a person who is into exploratory data analysis, you definitely need to understand what this graph or plot means and how it works. Because if you understand a box plot, let me tell you, you understand a lot about exploratory data analysis, right? For example, the graph will just look like this, right? It's basically like a long looking tube with just wires out at the end. Now, if you take a look at what all of those means, you just have to analyze all the vertical lines here, okay? First of all, the line that you find inside the cylinder or inside the rectangle here, wherever that line is on the scale, that point is the median point for that data. And of course, the point which is to the extreme left, right, is the minimum value. It can be 0, it can be -1, whatever it is, depending on the data. And then you have the maximum value on the right, but you also see a couple of dots next to the maximum value. What are these? Well, these are called outliers, as in their outputs or their values are slightly different from everything else, right? So I'll give you an example of an outlier. If I just ask you saying, hey, you know what, I just want to know your blood group, what is your blood group, right? So you can answer the question in a straightforward fashion. So if I have to tell you, hey, can you all put it in an Excel sheet and send it to me? Of course you'll do it. Now if one of you all, or let's just say it happens, right, human mistake, instead of blood group, you would have just maybe put down your mobile number or something there. That is an outlier. Or you have put an incorrect blood group as well. That is an outlier as well. There's many reasons to point out saying, hey, this is the reason why the data is an outlier. So as an outlier, it is separated from the rest of the bunch, is exactly what I mean to say. Now, the other things that you see, such as Q1, Q3 and all of that, this basically talks about a bit of statistics as well. Now, if you guys don't know statistics at this moment of time, don't worry. I'm just trying to explain what the graph is like and how to read it at this moment, right? So when we have to divide the data in 4 terms in a percentile form, we'll basically get 4 quadrants, right? So basically minimum to Q1, all the data that exists here is basically the first part of it, right? And from the 25th percentile, it's also called as Q1, as you can see, all the way to the median, which is also called as Q2 again, right? So Q1 to median talks about the second division of data. From median to Q3 talks about the third quartile of data. From Q3 to max talks about the fourth quartile. Now, how many quartiles do we have? 4, right? Perfect. Now, this is a very simple way of how you would read the graph. So minimum here is somewhere around, I think, 1 or 2. Q1 is somewhere around 6 or 7 if I have to guess. Median is somewhere around 11 or 12. Q3 is somewhere around 25. Max is somewhere around 30, right? All I'm trying to do is draw a vertical line from that dot to the scale and just find out what it is. Box plots are super important. If you have ever spoken to a data analyst in real life, I'm very sure that they would have guided you regarding this as well, right? Okay, fantastic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me try to take a look at and answer this question for all of you all to see if you guys know the answer to this as well, right? Now, when we talk about median, what do we mean? When I say this is the median of that data, what is the answer to that? Can you all quickly head to the comment section and let me know what we mean by median? Now, while you guys do that, we can go on to the next section where we will be discussing the advantages of exploratory data analysis, right? I hope all of you all are having super fun at this moment of time. We are just about to get into the demo section. So as soon as we go on to discuss the advantages, we will dive right into the demo and we are going to cover it, right? Fantastic. So the advantages now. When we speak about advantages of exploratory data analysis, I have to tell you straight up that there is many advantages, right? We can literally sit and talk about this for hours together, and I can keep telling you the advantages of it. But to bring everything together into one slide to give you an answer, I do have 5 fantastic points I want to discuss with you. First of all, as I told you already, it will help you arrive at a data-driven conclusion. Instead of you guessing or instead of you trying to find out it may or may not happen, right? It's just literally the opposite of guessing. Here you have a sure shot proof saying this is the reason why the data is pointing towards that, right? If you ask a question saying, hey, last year at this moment of time, what was my height? If you have had your height data recorded every single year or every single month of every year, you can just look back at the data and answer the question, right? You're not guessing. You have the data to prove it. That is the first point. So whenever you have to provide any sort of insights, see, with respect to data analysis, there is two ways to go here. One, you'll be trying to predict, or you'll be trying to analyze something that went wrong in the past to the present. The next thing is you'll also be providing insights about the future with the data that you have. So whenever you're talking about the future, you're trying to predict the future, right? Now predicting the future might bring out a couple of laughs, but with respect to data analysis, with respect to data science, you are using a domain which will give you a power like no other, right? You can actually use data. If you have a good amount of data, good quality and quantity of data, wherein you're trying to assess and analyze something, you can also try to see if you can predict what might happen to it in the future as well, right? This backed by proof saying, hey, there is a very good chance. Of course, we cannot predict the future and say 100% this will happen. There are so many things that you can say it happens 100%, right? For example, at 6:30 p.m. tonight, the sun is going to go down 100%. Of course, every one of us knows. You don't have to bring data to prove it. But if I say, hey, tomorrow the sunrise may be 3 hours late, I have to have some proof for that, or else it's just some random thing that I just say, right? Exactly. You need data-driven conclusions. This is the biggest thing in data analysis, and that's the first point, and we have got it covered, right? Fantastic. The second point, we also discussed this in terms of data anomalies and in terms of consistency as well, right? Here, as I told you, to make sure that your data is correct, you guys can also use exploratory data analysis, because with respect to EDA, the applications are endless, and you can even use it to just fix the data that you're going to use later to work on analysis as well. It's like you using EDA to first fix the data and eventually work on it later. Of course, you will not be using EDA to fix the data in all the cases. We have a very good process which will be set there. It's called data pre-processing, right? After data ingestion comes data pre-processing. Look at the third point. It says feature engineering. Now, feature engineering is us trying to understand what are some of the features that will lead to this outcome. Let me give you an example about diabetes, right? See, as I told you, it is not just only age that will help with respect to analyzing if a person has diabetes or not. It can be hereditary. It can be the level of blood sugar they have in their body. It can be due to body temperature. It can be skin thickness. It can be insulin level. It can be their, again, blood pressure, heart rate. It can be their body mass index. It can be the amount of exercise that they're doing or not doing, right? So which feature is going to have the most impact? It's called correlation, if you have heard of this concept. And with respect to data analysis, you can do this really easily, and you can have concrete proof without even having to put a lot of effort. As you guys will see in the demo in the next section that we're just about to discuss, you really don't have to type a lot of Python code to have a fantastic answer, right? That is the beauty of Python and data analysis, ladies and gentlemen. You can have a fantastic, powerful output for a tiny amount of code. That's one of the reasons I absolutely love Python, right? Fantastic. Let's take a look at data handling in terms of underfitting and overfitting, right? For all of you all who might not know what underfitting and overfitting is when you have a machine learning model which cannot find any sort of insights when it's running through the data. It knows the data is there, but it is not able to connect. It's not able to look deeper enough, right? That is underfitting. And again, it will lead to bad efficiency, of course. Then overfitting is the exact opposite of it. Your machine learning algorithm is so enthusiastic that it is punching through the data to an extent to where it is just seeing noise, right? It has dug so deep into the beach right now. It has completely missed the treasure, and it is just going down and down and down, and absolutely nothing positive is going to come out of it, right? That is overfitting. Overfitting is when your model just looks out for noise rather than useful information, and underfitting and overfitting both will kill the efficiency of your machine learning models or deep learning models as well. You can avoid all of that. You can handle it really, really well, and you can just remove all that headache down the line if you use exploratory data analysis. Right now, there cannot be a bigger advantage than all of these that are mentioned on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic. Now we're going to be coming to the section where we are going to be taking a look at all of these things practically, and we're going to be performing our own exploratory data analysis. Now, to go on to check all of these things in Python, first of all, we need to check out what it is that we're doing, what data are we using, and why even do this, right? First of all, let's talk about the dataset. Now, the dataset, as I mentioned, we're going to be using the IPL dataset. IPL stands for Indian Premier League. This is a fantastic cricketing event that happens once in a year, and it is an international international phenomena, right? We have millions and millions of people stuck to their TV screens and they're watching it. They're sitting in a cafe, they're frantically browsing it on Google, they're watching it on Hotstar, they're doing it, they're basically watching it everywhere that they can, right? So IPL is a really, really big deal here in India, and if we can ask many different questions and if we can perform some good analysis on it, I think it's going to give us great insights, right? Okay, look, we can start out this particular demo by asking dataset based questions. For example, hey, what is the size of the dataset that I'm looking at? What kind of data do I have in this dataset? Is the dataset pre-processed, or is it going to give me a pain in the back where I have to sit and pre-process it again? Or we can also ask the question saying, hey, is all the headings and all the data that is present inside the data correct or incorrect or missing or all this, right? Because if you don't ask all of these dataset questions even before you attack the problem, even if you can actually solve the problem, your data is not going to assist you and it's going to give you very bad efficiency down the line, right? So make sure you guys are answering these kind of questions even before you actually get into what is needed to be done, right? Now, what is needed to be done is exactly this. You can ask a lot of statistical questions as well on the lines of what are the values of central tendency, right? Now, for all the people who might not know what central tendency is, can you guys head to the comment section and let me know what is central tendency? We have three important concepts there. This comes in statistics. I promise you all that you have learnt this in your either in your school, your college, or any other time, right? Central tendency. What is it? Let me know. And then we also understood the quartile division, right? I showed you that on a box plot you can cleanly map all the four quartiles and you can make sense out of it, right? That's already done. Now, what is the third thing? It says, what is the total count of individual data elements? Of course, let's just find out how many matches, cricket matches are we talking about? Since we're talking about IPL data set, of course we'll be talking about cricket matches. Now, in this particular case, what are these cricket matches that we are taking a look at is something we're gonna understand, right? Now, to explore the data set, to ask the interesting questions, to ask the questions which you guys have been waiting for. For example, how many IPL matches have been played? How many seasons are we trying to even analyze with the data that we have? Which team scored the most runs? Who won man of the match most of the times? You can ask a ton of interesting questions, as you guys will see, and it's a very, very simple data set, right? So all the files are provided for you guys. You can actually sit and do this alongside me as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are we waiting for? Let's check out the code now, right? Let me quickly get a gulp of water and let me check a couple of your questions and we can head there. Okay, Surya, Jagannath, Sandesh and Piali Das have given me the answer: mean, median and mode. Yes, so for all the people who might have missed, basically measures of central tendency talks about the mean value, the median value and the mode as well, right? Okay, superb. Fantastic, guys. Now let me quickly get a gulp of water and we can get started with this, right? I hope all of you all are excited for the demo because it's an absolutely fantastic demo. And while you guys are watching the live session, do take a second to hydrate yourself and refresh yourself at this moment as well. This definitely would keep a lot of people happy, I am sure. Alright guys, now what are we waiting for? Let's just get started with the demo. Now, for all the people who might not be familiar with the interface that I'm using to showcase the demo for all of you all, this is nothing but Google Colab. Google Colab, or it's also called as Google Collaboratory, is basically a Jupyter notebook. That is it. It's a Jupyter notebook that is hosted on the Google Cloud platform. The advantage of this is that I can take my code anywhere I want. If I'm on my phone, I can execute it. If I'm watching this on my smart TV, I can execute the code. If I'm sitting at a Starbucks and drinking my favorite cup of coffee, I can still write the code and still drink coffee and still execute it and solve the problem, right? So since all the code gets stored in your Google Drive and all the code gets stored in the Google Cloud platform, you really don't have to worry about, mailing yourself the code, putting it in the drive. All those hassle is gone. As soon as you open up the page, your notebook is ready to use. If you know how to write code in Python, that is it. You just hit start. No installing, no configuration, no headaches saying, hey, this is not working, that is not working, environment variable is not set, the path is not set. No, it's just an editor where you start typing your code and you hit enter, your code runs, right? It's as simple as that, as I'm going to be showing you as well. Now let me zoom in a lot so that all of you all can check out as well, right? Okay, fantastic. I think this zoom should be okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, whenever we're talking about trying to analyze something, or in fact, whenever we're trying to solve any of these problems, the first thing that I usually prefer doing, and of course, the common practice across the world, is that you'll be importing all the libraries at one place and you'll just finish it, right? For example, we're importing libraries like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and Seaborn here. So, Pandas and NumPy are again are super popular libraries for in the terms of data analysis and data science itself. NumPy is basically called as numerical Python. It's fantastic for numerical operations, storing data in the form of arrays, in the form of matrices, and all of that, right? And then we have Pandas. Pandas provides us with two very important data structures. One is called as Pandas series, and the other one is Pandas data frames, right? So series and data frames are superb, and they are probably the most used data structure in the world today with respect to data science, right? Fantastic. Then we have Matplotlib and Seaborn. Give me 1 second. There is a very loud Air Force jet that is just going over my head. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. If you could hear it, head to the comment section and let me know. Okay, fantastic. Then we have two libraries, Matplotlib and Seaborn. Matplotlib and Seaborn both are superb libraries to create beautiful looking graphs, charts, plots, and everything, right? You remember when I showed you a box plot back then? In fact, you can actually plot it using Seaborn and Matplotlib. Seaborn is basically Matplotlib with a ton more of functionalities, features, and slightly different ways of working as well. So we're going to be using both. Now, as soon as I click on that play button, you see that it is circling around and it's done. That means this entire code block is now already executed, right? Superb. The next thing that I am going to have to do is basically import the data set, right? I have to bring in the data set. Now, let me quickly log in to my account and we can go on to bring in this particular data set, right? I'll just click on allow out here. It'll just say copy this. It'll say paste it here and done. So basically I'm giving this particular notebook permission for it to go on to mount my Google Drive. What I mean by that is I will have access to all the files that are present on the Google Drive. Why do I want to do that? Well, I want to do that because all my data, the entire data set that I have, right, the file called matches.csv is basically sitting in my Google Cloud platform. Now, as soon as I hit play here, you will see that our data set is ready, right? If you don't get any error at this point of time, you have successfully brought in the data set. Now, let's look at the data set quickly, right? So we have the first column is going to be the ID. Of course, it's the identifier. We don't have to worry about it for now. The next column we have is the season. Season talks about which season of IPL, right? IPL 2014, IPL 15, IPL 16, 17, 18, 19. Right now, we're talking about IPL 2021 as well, right? We have heard that it's going to be resuming, I guess, right? Now, for all the cricketing fans out there, guys, head to the comment section and let me know what are your updates on the Indian Premier League, right? So, what should the audience members know about the IPL as well, right? So, head there and put it down. The next thing that you're going to see is the city where the match was played, the date of when the match was played, the two teams, right? Team 1 and Team 2. Who won the toss, what was the decision for the toss, and what was the result. So if you see that the result column either should say win or lose, right? But why does it say normal? Well, the result column here is talking about if the match actually finished on a note, right? It can be a draw. The result can also be a draw. Or the result, in fact, is that match got cancelled because it started raining or something, right? How many times has that happened? Fantastic. The next thing, let me scroll a little to the right here. The next thing that you're going to see is the winner. Of course, if Sunrisers Hyderabad and RCB played in one of the old matches, and turns out in this match, the Sunrisers Hyderabad won. They won by 35 runs. You can also take a look at the number of wickets they took. Who was the player of the match? You can also find player of match is basically man of the match, right? You can find out the venue, as in which stadium was it played. Who were the names of the umpires as well? Umpire 1, Umpire 2, and Umpire 3. Now, you can just look at the data here. It's just 5 rows that I have printed. You can take a look at it and see, hey, some of these names are not right. It just says NAN. What is NAN? NAN basically stands for not a number, or basically it's trying to tell us that, hey, you do not have any entry that is present out here. So we do not have data for many cases where you don't know who the third umpire was. Well, that's okay. We're really not looking at umpires and trying to analyze or assess something there, right? Okay, fantastic. Fantastic, guys. So I hope you're all clear with all the columns that we have taken a look at. First column talks about which season of IPL. Next column talks about which city the match was played in, the date, the two teams that played it, who won the toss, what was the decision after winning the toss, what was the result, who was the winner, how much runs did they win by, how many wickets did they take. So all of these are the things that we ask whenever we are watching the match itself, right? Fantastic. So we know that we're talking about IPL, but how many data sets do we have? Like in one data set, how many data entries do we have, right? A simple command data.shape is basically telling us that I have match details of 756 matches, right? Cricket matches. And then 18 talks about the number of columns that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will go all the way to the end, right? We already discussed the second one, but this is interesting to look at. We now have details of 756 matches that were played in the Indian Premier League. Let's see if we can find out some more info about it, right? Taking a look at it as usual, right? Basically, it is going to give you an answer saying, hey, there's 18 columns, there's 756 rows. Here is all the people. You can find out so many names. I'm sure you'll be finding your favorite cricketers' names a lot here. Now, one important thing that I want to mention for all of you all now is this data set is publicly available, right? All the insight that we're going to find out are going to be specific to the data set. And in one or two cases, it may so happen that the answer that you get might be different from what has happened in the real world. Now you cannot directly compare it because you're not feeding in that data, or it is not you who created the IPL data set, right? Someone who created the data set had to make sure that everything was either right or wrong. So there can be cases where things are different to the real world. There is nothing to worry and nothing is wrong. Whatever data is available in our data set, based on that only we will have our data, right? Fantastic. So taking a look at pre-processing, as I told you, right, with respect to pre-processing, in terms of how to find out NaN values, right? NaN value stands for not a number, wherein there are certain places wherever it says true, these columns might have values which are not a number, right? For example, not a number literally can mean that it is a string. The name of the city is a string, right? If I ask you, hey, which city are you guys from, you'll probably say Bangalore, you'll say Mumbai, you'll say Delhi, or you're gonna give me a name, you're gonna give me a string, you're not gonna give me a number. I didn't ask for the pin code, right? If I said, hey, which city are you from, if you say 560085, I'm like, okay, what does that mean, right? So that is the reason why you have to be very, very careful with respect to this data. Now, I definitely think that most of the data that we have here is pre-processed and good to go for our simple analysis, so we don't have to break our head about this, right? Fantastic. So the next thing that we can do is little describe about the data set in terms of the statistics aspect, in terms of how much data do we have, what is the mean value, what is the median value, and all of that, right? Now here you don't see the median value, but the 50th percentile value is considered as the mean, right? This is the first quartile, minimum to 25th percentile. This is the second quartile, 25th to 50. 50 to 75 is the third one, and 75 to 50 max is the fourth one, right? So you can find out all of these things. First of all, we already know that we have details of 756 matches, and you can also find out what is the average win by runs in the entire 756 matches right now. I can tell you that people have scored 13 runs as an average over 756 matches, and they won, right? Fantastic. And the average number of wickets where people have won by taking the number of wickets over 700 matches is somewhere around 3.3. So if you have scored over 3.35 wickets over a match, of course you cannot score 3.3. You're either scoring 3 or you're scoring 4 wickets, right? But then you can also find out, since we are doing the average, it's going to give you a floating point number here. Fantastic. We understood the statistics aspect of it as well. Now let's get into answering these fantastic questions that you see on your screen. The first question says, how many matches in total were played according to the data set? Can you see that the question is actually bigger than the piece of code? Our piece of code is literally very, very tiny, and it has such a powerful answer. Clicking on it will give you the number of matches that were played. This we already know because we made sure to describe it statistically. We made sure to describe it in the data set. We also made sure to take a look look at it with respect to the shape function as well, right? We already know this. Now, what are some of the things that we don't know about? Well, the first thing that I want to find out before asking any questions to the data set is, hey, how many IPL seasons do we even analyzing right now? Because if you just analyze one IPL season, it's very difficult, right? But then what we are doing here is we have taken every single IPL data from 2008 all the way until I think 2019, right? So 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, etc. all the way until 18 is the number of years that we are going to be considering here, right? Fantastic. Now, if you take a look at 12 years worth of data from IPL, I think we can get some good insights taking a look at 12 years, right? Cool. The next question that we're going to ask is, hey, this is a question I am asking to the data. I am asking saying, hey, which IPL team won by scoring the maximum runs? Well, how do I find out which team won by scoring the maximum runs? I just have to find the maximum number and the column win by runs, and I just have to print it out for you, right? Simple. Now, as soon as I click play, this is the answer to the question of which IPL team won by scoring the maximum runs. Well, this was basically a match that happened in 2017. This is IPL 2017. This match was played in Delhi on 6/5, right? So basically, this was played on April 6th. This was between Mumbai Indians and Delhi Daredevils. Delhi Daredevils won the toss and they said, hey, we want to field first. And the match was eventually won by Mumbai Indians, and they won by a staggering 146 runs. So they were 146 runs ahead when they won the match, right? You can find out the player of the match as well, a person called Simmons. It was played at Firoz Shah Kotla. Of course, Firoz Shah Kotla is in Delhi, I believe. And then you can find out the names of the umpires as well, right? You see that this piece of code again is shorter than the question that I have asked in itself. So it's very, very simple to perform complex analysis, and you'll have so much fun doing this. I find myself, I usually take a look at a couple of data sets, and I always try to see if I can find some answers to questions which I cannot find the answers to with the naked eye, right? Superb. Now we know which team won by scoring the maximum runs. That's Mumbai Indians, right? And then now we're gonna ask a question saying, okay, so which IPL team won by consuming the maximum wickets? The last time we asked maximum runs. Now we're going to take a look at maximum wickets, right? As soon as I click on it, you will see again all the details, right? This basically is a match that happened in 2017. The match was played at Rajkot between Gujarat Lions and Kolkata Knight Riders. In this match, Kolkata Knight Riders won against Gujarat Lions. Even though they actually won the toss and they chose to field, right? Now, what is it that we're trying to answer here? The team that won by consuming the maximum wickets. How many wickets can you take if it's maximum? Of course, it has to be all the 10 wickets, right? Well, in this match, KKR took all the 10 wickets when they fought against, and when they were playing against Gujarat Lions here. You can find out all the details as well, where it was played, Saurashtra Cricket Stadium. You can find out details about the umpire, the year, the date the match was played, where it was played, and a ton of other details. And again, look at this. My line of code where I'm supposed to be getting an answer is shorter than the question I'm asking. But look at the output. The output is a beautiful looking output where we can find detailed insights, not just answers, right? This basically could have given me an answer saying, hey, KKR won. But I'm like, okay, but when did they win? Who did they play against? What was the insight? Who won the toss? All that won't be answered if it just gives me the answer. But doing it this way, you can see that I have detailed insights about that particular match, right? Fantastic. Now, there can also be a case where a match has been won without even taking any wicket, right? Maybe they were really, really good with fielding and they didn't take any wicket, but eventually they didn't let the team score, right? Very tight fielding. In that particular case, it so happened that RCB played against Sunrisers Hyderabad in 2017. RCB won the toss and they chose to field. But eventually this match was won by Sunrisers Hyderabad. This was won by 35 runs and 0 wickets. It means that basically they did not take anyone's wicket, but it also means that they did not go on to win the match as well. I'm talking about RCB out here. And this match, you can find the man of the match here. Man of the match was Yuvraj Singh. This was played at Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium in Uppal. You can find out all the details about the umpires as well, right? Fantastic. Now this is the part where things get interesting. This is the part where we start plotting beautiful looking things. So if you ask me a question saying, hey, now we're trying to analyze and assess 12 different seasons of IPL, which season consists of the highest number of matches that have been ever played, right? Which IPL had the most number of matches? Can anyone of you all take a guess? Well, while you guys are guessing, let me tell you the answer. The answer is IPL 2013, right? Look at this. This is the tallest graph and it says somewhere around 70, I guess, right? So in IPL 2013, we played over 70 different matches. Now, when I say we, I mean the entire IPL, right? The minimum number of matches I think was probably played in IPL 2009. It is somewhere around 55, I guess, with respect to this data set, of course, right? But you can see this again, it's not a lot of code. It's basically 2-3 lines of code. It's 4 lines of code, but I definitely can shorten this into 2 lines of code, and you can see that with just 2 lines of code you have such a beautiful looking output. And it took me 1 second to take a look at it to give you the answer, right? I wasn't searching or anything. I just wanted to take a look at the graph, and I had to find the tallest graph there and match it to the y-axis, and I am done. I just looked at it, I realized 13 is the tallest. I just went left and I realized it's over 70. So maybe they played 71, 72, 73, somewhere around that, right? See, done. 2 lines of code, your output is beautiful, and you're performing so much analysis right here. The next thing that we're going to ask, right, let's just say we have another 3 or 4 questions we have to answer. So the next question that we're going to answer is which is the most successful IPL team with all the data that we have at hand, right? Now guys, I know you're going to go to the comment section and tell me, hey, this team is the best, that team is the best. We understand that you're a supporter of your team, and I'm sure for you that's the best. But here, with respect to the data that we have to answer, right? We're not trying to guess who's the best here. We're trying to put a concrete mark saying, hey, these guys are the best, right? So who won the maximum number of matches ever? In the descending order, if you see, you can see that Mumbai Indians have been the guys who have played a ton of matches. They have played over 100 of course, they've played a ton of matches. They have won over hundreds of matches, right? You can see it's over 100. And then you have Chennai Super Kings, who have won somewhere around 100 or 99 matches. You have Kolkata Knight Riders coming in at the 3rd place, and RCB sits at the 4th place as well. You can look at it from the top to bottom to find out how many number of matches these guys have won. Now, if I just ask you a question saying, hey, who won the least number of matches in 12 years of IPL? Well, the answer is very simple. You can find the lowest one and there is your answer. If you have to ask a question saying who won the maximum number, like what we're doing, again, you have an answer, right? It's just one single graph that is giving us a ton of insight. You can find out who came 2nd, who came 3rd, who came 10th. You can find out a ton of different things. And again, it's only 1 or 2 lines of code that is getting us to this beautiful looking output. This is the magic of Python, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, fantastic. Now we're going to ask 1 or 2 questions, ladies and gentlemen. Now this question is a very interesting one. We're asking, what is the probability of winning a match if the toss was won? Right now, if we do have any of you guys here who are thorough cricket fans, you will always be waiting for the toss, right? You want to know what happens to the toss, because you believe that toss has such a huge right, an impact on the game. Of course, it may or may not have. I don't know, because I don't really watch cricket to that level of detail, right? I just casually watch it. Now, as soon as I click on play, it will basically give me the probability. If you won the match, if you won the toss, what is the probability that you also won the match? Well, the results are very, very much interesting, right? So out of all the matches that were played, there were 393 cases where matches were won after they won the toss. But it also happened where that the match was lost even though they won the toss, right? You can win the toss and win the match. You can also lose the toss and eventually win the match, or you can win the toss and lose the match. There's so many combinations out there, right? So when it says false, basically it is telling us the number of matches where the toss did not matter, right? Regardless of the toss, the match was lost. Now that is a very interesting insight to find out. And again, I'm just doing it with 1 or 2 lines of code. And in fact, I'm going to do you one solid, and I'm going to give you a graph as well, right? So you can see that if you win the toss, there is a small amount, a very, very small amount of advantage that you will get. Of course, I'm not saying in terms of cricket, in terms of the field, in terms of the pitch, in terms of the ground and all of that. With respect to the data, this is the case, right? So regardless of toss, we can sort of answer a question here saying, hey, I don't think the toss really matters a lot, because we have details of 700 plus matches, and it is almost neck to neck, right? That's the reason it's a toss. You'll never know what happens, right? Fantastic. Okay, the next thing that we're going to be doing is setting a bigger row width. Don't mind about that. That's because we are just trying to find out the highest wins by teams per every season. Now, as soon as I go on to print this, let me tell you what we are trying to print here. Well, this is going to be a very long output. So the question that I asked the data analysis, the answer that I want to the particular question is, in which particular season were the highest wins by the teams, right? So every single year you will have to basically find number of wins and arrange it in the descending order. For example, in IPL 2008, Rajasthan Royals won 13 matches, right? They won the highest in 2008, and eventually below them Punjab were there, Kings 11 Punjab, they won 10 matches, and so on. You can find out about the other teams as well. Take a look at IPL 2009. Here is where Delhi Daredevils won the maximum number of matches. Take a look at 2010. This is where Mumbai Indians won 11 matches. 2011, Chennai Super Kings won 11 matches. 2012, KKR won 12 matches. 13, it was again Mumbai Indians. 14, it was Punjab. 15, Chennai. 16, Hyderabad. 17, Mumbai. 18, Chennai. 19, Mumbai, right? So it's Mumbai, Chennai, it's somewhere around there. So I believe that these guys are the ones who have won the most number of matches. We already saw previously with a beautiful looking graph, right? Let me scroll up to the graph, and we already took a look at it, and we understood which team won the maximum runs. It was Mumbai Indians, and in second place we had Chennai Super Kings. And as soon as I scroll down, that is exactly the data that I'm seeing here as well, right? Fantastic. So the answer to this particular question is, this is what was the toss decision there. Out of all these matches that we have had, 700 plus matches, every time the toss was done, basically in 463 matches, the captains wanted to pick up fielding first and batting later, right? But then in 293 matches, they wanted to bat first and field later. Now this number can look very interesting, because this is usually what is done, right? You let the opponent player play, and eventually you catch up with them, and you play the catch-up game where you know how to, you will know what the target is before you start the match. I think that's the reason why this is the case as well, right? Superb. The last two questions we can ask: who is this person who has won man of the match the highest number of times, right? You can find out all the details to this particular question. Now let me zoom in a little bit. I've just scrolled a little to the bottom here. It'll basically show you details about the person who has won man of the match most number of times, and these guys are the three guys, of course, all considering the data that we have: Christopher, Henry, Gale, and AB de Villiers and Warner. These three guys are the top three guys who have won the maximum player of the match. Now I don't know if this is true even in 2021, but as of the data that we have, yes, I have definitely witnessed a Gale storm here in Bangalore when IPL was here many times. I used to go to all of these matches. I've definitely I've seen all these guys play as well. I'm sure you guys would have, and it's nothing but an absolute pleasure to see these sportsmen in their sport, right? Super. So the last question that we're going to ask in this data analysis part is saying, which city were the highest number of matches played? In which city in India were the maximum number of IPL matches played? And I don't think it should come as a surprise to you guys, but Mumbai has been very famous for hosting IPL games, right? And of course, since those guys have either come to the end of the playoffs, or those guys have gone into semi-final, final over the last 12 years, it just gives them that advantage wherein you can say that, hey, there was a home game in Mumbai, and it was played 101 times here, right? And of course, you can see Kolkata, you can see Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, all these places where the number of matches were played. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me clear the output to showcase you guys that. Let me zoom out here. As you can see, all of the answers that we are getting out of this particular question, if I just showed you that data set and say, hey, answer these questions, it will not be possible. But with one very simple line of code with Python, you can just answer any question that you want if you know how to frame the question and if you know how to attack the logic in the data, right? So as you can find it, performing exploratory data analysis on such an interesting data set like the IPL data set is is always a fantastic thing, right? Superb, guys. Now that we are done with the code, I always get asked this particular question saying, okay, Anirudh, we know what exploratory data analysis is. We have a good introduction, we have a good fundamental, but you're going to have to learn further as well, right? This is not the end of data analysis. So my advice for all of you all who are getting started with data analysis is, the first thing you have to do is not be overwhelmed by the amount of data that we have. Right now, if you just go to Google and type learn data analysis, you will be given millions and millions of results by the time I did that sound, right? By the time I just brought my fingers together, you will have millions of websites which will help you learn data science or data analysis or any other domain. What happens here is that there is a very good chance you can be confused with the amount of data. First of all, it's like you being in the middle of a forest. If you do not have a structured path to navigate through a domain such as such a big domain as data analysis, it will be very, very difficult, right? You will get lost. And in this domain of you getting lost, what I mean is that in this context, you'll basically stop learning it because it can get really hard or it can get confusing. You don't know what to do and all of that. Our goal here at Great Learning is to make sure you guys don't drop off in between. If you have started on data analysis with that amount of enthusiasm a couple of months back, couple of weeks back, and you see that your enthusiasm is going low, there is a very good chance you guys might not have a structured path to learn or a plan, which will basically discuss all the details as well, right? Now that is the reason why I keep telling you guys to subscribe to the Great Learning YouTube channel, because here we have multiple subject matter experts who are thorough experts in their own domains who will help you learn. Not only that, for all the people who have graduated from your college or you're just about to graduate, I think you can relate to this better, right? What happens is that as soon as you graduate from college, you will have to learn many different skill sets to apply for your job. They're going to be asking you so many concepts. There's a good chance you would have not learned it in college, right? But the advantage of the Great Learning YouTube channel is that since we cover a wide range of domains and wide aspects of in terms of applications, in terms of tutorials, in terms of a ton of different content for all of you guys, again, all taught by subject matter experts, you will not only have access to the highest quality of learning material possible, you will also have the learning aligned towards what is required in the industry, right? You will not face a situation where you come out of college and eventually you have to learn something else, or you have to spend a couple of months to learn again, retrain yourself on something very different to get your first job, and after you go to the job there is another 6-month training period there, right? So we want to make sure that as soon as you're ready out of college, or as soon as you are basically looking for your first job, you have all the skills, right? Now we put out multiple videos on the channel with respect to this as well, and of course we have tons of different content that you guys can check out, all free content on Great Learning Academy. You can take a look at Great Learning Academy for multiple free courses as well, right? That's the reason I keep telling you guys to subscribe, to join in on these live sessions so you can talk to all of us, right? Super. As I told you, there's many places where you can find free content with respect to Great Learning. You can find it on Great Learning Academy. You can find multiple different, of course, you can find tons of content here on Great Learning Academy and the Great Learning YouTube channel as well. But I understand that some of you all absolutely love reading. Now, for all of you all who love reading, we also have Great Learning blogs. Just do a simple Google search called Great Learning blogs, and you'll be taken to a page where, again, we have experts writing fantastic blogs where you can, if you're a person who loves to read and understand, well, you've got a chance for that as well, right? Superb. Now, the last section that I want to discuss with all of you all is the most important section that I told you, ladies and gentlemen. At this moment of time, you guys, I am sure some of you all here will be very serious about learning data analysis and data science, right? Because these domains are the top domains right now. Fantastic salaries, fantastic number of opportunities. You can go be a part of your dream company if you're a specialist. But then to get to all of that, all the free content in the world might not help, right? Because all the free content, of course, we here provide the highest quality of content, be it in terms of free content or be it in terms of paid content. But you have to understand that the free content will only get you started, and it will get you to an intermediary level. But if you guys need to become thorough professionals, I highly suggest you guys take a look at all these offerings that we have in terms of data science and data analysis here at Great Learning, right? We have multiple post-graduation programs, MTech programs, and master's programs which are being done in collaboration with some of the most fantastic universities in the world out there. We're talking to We're talking on the lines of Stanford Business School, Texas McCombs School of Business. We're talking about Great Lakes, PS University, Northwestern University, so many different prestigious universities and Ivy League schools, right? So if you guys are very, very serious about, having a career in this particular domain, I highly suggest you take a look at specializations and the post-graduation offerings we have here, right? To get to that, if you guys are on Great Learning Academy, just click on the button which says career transformation programs, and you will be brought into this particular page where you can take a look at. Of course, on that note, since we're talking about IPL, I think Virat Kohli would probably be the biggest name of IPL, right? Guess who is our particular I am very sure you know that Virat Kohli is associated with great learning, right? Okay, guys. Now here, what you have to do is simple. Let me just quickly guide you through of how you would work around this place. Click on Explore Programs. Since we're talking about data science, data analysis, and all of that, you'll find multiple different programs here. Just find out which of these programs are right for you. Of course, the most popular offering that we have in terms of data science and business analytics is our PG program in DSBA, Data Science and Business Analytics. This is considered to be India's #1 course and being done in collaboration with the University of Texas at Austin in the USA, right? You will get two certificates as soon as you go on to complete this PG program. One from the University of Texas at Austin, as you can see, another certificate from Great Lakes Executive Learning. Now, this is an entire program which is ensured to make sure you guys will have thorough knowledge on it, right? This is not a 1 month course or a 2 month course. You have to work on this particular course for over 11-12 months. So as soon as you finish this particular course, finish your capstone projects and learn about all of these things, you would have done multiple projects to a point where you will become, if you've put in the good amount of effort and time, I am very sure that you guys will become experts in these concepts, right? You will also get various forms of career assistance, post-graduation certificates from the University of Texas at Austin. You can take a look at all the different projects that we have. You'll also be working with some of the most leading academicians in the world in terms of faculties, and of course we have mentors here who are thorough experts in their domains as well. So we'll be working along with mentors, and scrolling down the program, you will find multiple different advantages in terms of career support, right? Of course, career support is very much important in terms of you having access to exclusive recruitment drives, curated jobs, interview preparation, career mentorship, and so much more. You can find out a lot. You can find out all the reviews, the feedback that we have, and the details regarding fees as well, right? As I told you, this is a completely online program. This is for 11 months. You get access to 225 plus hours of online learning, interview workshops, 1:1 mentorship, individual doubt solving sessions, 17 real world projects guided by experts, and a ton more, guys. You can find out more details about this. I am very sure the person who is handling the chat section is gonna put the link to this particular program here. You can click on it. You can come to the end of this particular program where we have a section where you guys can put in all of your details. Right now, give me 1 second. Let me show you that. Now, as soon as I open this, let me scroll this to the end, and as soon as I go to the end of this particular section, you'll see a section where we have details such as your name, email address, mobile number, and work experience. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you put in your details out here, we will make sure that someone from the admissions office is going to give you a call again for free in the next 2 to 4 hours, and we're going to make sure that they will guide you thoroughly about what it is that you're planning to do. And if you have a goal, you can explain the goal to them, and they will make sure to find the best program here at Great Learning that meets your demands, and they will help you out completely out here, right? So make sure you guys are putting down your mail, name, and of course, if you don't have work experience or you're a college student, we also have that option as well. If you're a college student, you can click here, or if you're a person who just graduated and you're still looking for jobs, of course, 0 years of experience. If you've already started working, less than 1, and depending on whatever it is that you guys have in terms of experience, just put all the details, hit submit, and we're going to make sure from our side we have an expert calling you to guide you about this, right? Fantastic, guys. Now let me take 1 or 2 questions and we can go on to wind up the session. I have a lot of people again answering in the comment section saying Mumbai Indians, CSK forever. Of course, guys, I know your enthusiasm for the sport. That's the reason we always have super fun when we go on to perform data analysis such as this, right? Piali Das says, maybe have access to the IPL dataset. Well, Piali, yeah, I see that you already have access to the PDF and the course material in the session there, right? Super. Rahul Jangra says, what are the tech skills one should have for a data analyst role? That's a very good question, Rahul Jangra. The first thing definitely has to be programming, and in programming, I think it has to be programming with respect to Python or another very beautiful programming language for data analysis. It's called as R programming language, right? So you can either learn Python or R, but then everything else that you would learn definitely depends on how you would go on to learn what is the structured path that you use, or what is the problem that you're trying to solve, right? But then knowledge about programming, knowledge about statistics, basic knowledge in terms of how to apply mathematics is something that is required, right? Allah, ALAA. I'm really sorry, I don't know how to spell it out. Again, my apologies. Asks a question. This person asks a question saying, is it 11 months or 6 months? Well, Allah, it's basically a 11-month program, as I showcase for you guys, right? Okay, guys, super. Thank you so much for this particular session at this moment of time. That is all I have for you guys. Of course, make sure you guys are subscribed to the Great Learning YouTube channel to check out more live sessions such as this. As always, I am excited to meet you guys on the next one. You always keep it highly energetic. You always keep it highly enthusiastic. And we have so much fun when we go on to have these sessions and you guys are learning alongside as well, right? So guys, if you've had a lot of fun learning, do take a second to like the video. It'll definitely mean a lot to me and of course to us at Great Learning here as well. And if you're excited about this and you definitely want to see more of these, which I'm sure you are, take a second to hit that subscribe button, right? Because as soon as you subscribe, as I told you over the session, you will have access to a lot of advantages as well, right? Fantastic, guys. On that note, thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day ahead, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more exploratory data analysts around us, right? All right, guys, good luck. We're still in the middle of the pandemic. Make sure you guys are wearing your masks, getting your vaccine shots, and keeping safe in general as well. While we are working from home and learning from home, let's make sure that we use this opportunity to catch up as soon as the pandemic ends, right? Because when the pandemic ends, the entire world of IT, that bubble is going to burst, and you can already see that there's tons of different jobs offering fantastic salaries today, right? I'm going to see all of you all there applying for fantastic jobs or being enthusiastic learning about the content, right? Okay, guys, superb. Have a beautiful day ahead. My name is Anirudh Rao, and I'll